2025 was an amazing year, and the lessons that I learned along the way were incredible. Hi dear me's, this is Richa and welcome to my channel. On this channel, we're becoming our best version for our future self to thank us. 2025 has been one of the best years ever. I mean, I had a bad year for the past 5 years, and I'm not gonna get too much into detail with that, but I didn't know that if I made few changes, the way I think, how my mindset is gonna be, and things like that, I can actually make a year almost perfect. Along that journey, I learned 25 lessons, and I know I learned it in 25, so it's 25 lessons that I learned in 2025. But these were so impactful in my life, how I was able to change 2025 in a complete 180 degree. So today in this video, I'm going to share with you the 25 lessons that I learned in 2025 and how you can implement those in 2026. I definitely will implement them in 2026 again because I kind of found out the formula. So without any further ado, let's go right into it. Lesson number 1, do what makes you happy. This is so important because I felt like the whole time I was just, really didn't know what made me happy, and I actually sat down to narrow down all the things that makes me happy. I actually made a list and I wrote down what are the things that make me happy, what is that feeling that makes me happy, and so on. And when I started implementing that, I actually felt so much more happier. Lesson number 2, stop people pleasing. I was always trying to people please. I didn't like anybody being upset with me about anything, and I just couldn't have anybody upset with me. That was my mindset the whole time. But when I realized that once I stopped people pleasing, I'm doing something good for me, because I can't satisfy or I can't make everybody happy. And that's just a mindset I had to work with and work on, because no matter how much you do, you can't always please anybody. Stop seeking validation. That's lesson number 3. Oh my God, did I do this my whole life? I was always seeking for validation. Somebody telling me that you did a good job. Oh, what a fantastic, and always seeking validation. When I got so much into that, I stopped really thinking for myself. I was waiting for somebody to tell me that I did a good job, for me to tell myself that I was actually, doing a good job. You can only do so much, and as long as you are happy with the results, you should be happy. Don't ask for anybody else's validation. 4th lesson that I learned was be yourself always, period. I was trying to fit in with the crowd that I'm hanging out with. If somebody's fashionable, go with that. Or if somebody's happy all the time, go with that. And I kind of lost myself. In the past 5 years, I actually did lose myself. I didn't really recognize who I am anymore. What used to make me happy didn't really make me happy, and things like that. And it was quite a switch that I made where I was like, I just can't stop, it was quite a switch that I made where I just decided to stop faking it. I'm just going to be myself. I have more fun with that. I'm going to be my authentic self. And that's a rule that I carried through the entire year of 2025. If I found something funny and nobody else found it funny, I laugh. I don't care what they think. If I thought that something was fun, I would have fun with that. I wouldn't really care anymore about what people think. That's my authentic self, and that's what I went with. So always be authentic, be yourself. My fifth lesson actually turned out to be a rule in my life, and I'm gonna definitely implement this in 2026. And what I call it is from one ear to another. And this is a thing that I say all the time to everybody. What that basically means is that I stopped listening to things that don't serve me. I mean, there are so many people that say a bunch of things. Oh, you're this, try to bring in negative things and say that. Whatever I want to, be stuck in my head and that means something is what I would just keep. If somebody said something negative about me, all right, it came from one ear and I threw it out from the other ear. That's why I was given 2 ears. And that is something that has worked in my favor so well this year. Sixth lesson that I learned is filter out relationships. I had so many people in my life for the past 5 years, beginning of 2025, who didn't really bring any value into my life. They were just there for the good times, and they didn't really care about me. They cared more about the fun and everything. And that's when I really looked back at all the relationships that I had, really narrowed it down to what is the, what do they bring to the table that serves me well in my life? And some of them, actually not some, a lot of people didn't do that. And because I needed to make the change, I really needed to get rid of those people. So I basically just filtered out negative people who don't bring any value. Seventh lesson was very, very important to me, which is practice self-care. Once I started getting into my journey of self-care, self-love, I really, really made the initiative to at least, if not more, at least one day to focus on self-care. Self-care, what I do is basically have an in-home spa day, try to relax, try to do hobbies that I like, try to, go somewhere where I feel joy and things. That's what I did. Along with that, lesson number 8 was self-love. And that was more like me talking negative about myself, things not going the way. I remember I journal, and I have an entry in my journal. And I just wrote negative on negative on negative things about me. And I had these thoughts for 3 days, and I was writing them down, and then I paused. I read back my journal for that entry, and I had promised myself I will never, ever talk in a disrespectful way to myself. I will never think that I'm not enough, and I will never, ever talk to myself in that way. When I changed that mindset is when I really understood what self-love is. I need to be nurtured. I need to be taken care of. I can't rely on anybody else to tell me those things. Instead, if I don't start with myself, how is anybody else going to give me the love, give me that nurture, and who's going to take care? At the end of the day, I'm with myself, and I have to love myself before I can even have anybody else love me, or me even trying to love somebody. So that was a huge lesson that I learned. Lesson number 9 is self-growth. Self-growth, how I did, I was not the kind of person who was very interested in learning new things and, let's say not using my brain enough, But 2025, I actually challenged myself with a lot of things. I was learning a lot of new things. I was learning a lot of new skills. And those skills, whether it was useless or not, and it was so funny because I would at the time think that it's something useless. But in 2025, there were so many times where the things that I had read about before actually worked in my real life, which was great. So you can never, ever stop learning. Your brain is meant to learn new things all the time. That's how you're going to grow as a person. So that was something that I took more interest in, and I loved it. Lesson number 10, sustain relationships that matter. This is so, so important. Like you filtered out the relationships that did not matter, you have to sustain the relationships that really do matter. That could be a relationship with your friends, your sister, your mother, your father, your kids, whoever it is that matters the most to you, you have to sustain the relationship with them. That could mean that you give them a call, you text them, just check up on them and see how they're doing. This is how you form relationships. My cousins, they live far away from me, but every once in a while, not maybe every day, but every once in a while, I do take the initiative to check up on them, see how it's going, shoot them a text, and just keep it going. 11th lesson is peace of mind. It has been my core goal, I would say, is to have a peace of mind. I was so stressed out. All these years, I've just been stressing, not really taking a breather or anything like that. And the drama that came along that, I was very anxious at those moments. And I just decided, I just want peace of mind. I don't want to be involved in drama. I don't want to, worry about anything. And in order for me to have a peace of mind, every day I practice breathing exercises. I find them the most. I find that breathing exercises more calming for me. I just sit down, just close my eyes, and I practice breathing exercises for 2 minutes where I just inhale, exhale. And that just feels like it takes such a weight off of my body. Lesson number 12, keep yourself busy. It's such a simple thing, but it really, really does a lot. I had a lot of moments in the past 5 years where I was like, "Ugh, I'm bored. What am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm just scrolling through my phone, or I'm just watching some stupid show or movie that doesn't really matter." But I found ways to keep myself busy, whether it's me going out or doing something at home. I'm constantly doing things where I'm not over exhausting myself, but I'm keeping myself busy so I don't get bored that quickly. Lesson number 13, one of the most important things that I learned was be thankful for whatever you have. Human nature is like that, where you have something but you don't value it, and you keep asking and asking and asking for more and more things. Take a minute and just sit down and see what you have. Be thankful for what you have, because what I realize is I am so fortunate to have whatever I have. And just thinking about it, being thankful about it, and realizing that what I think is normal to have is not probably a normal day for somebody else. And there's so many cases, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I will just say be thankful for everything that you have. Be thankful that you have a family. Be thankful that you have friends. Be thankful that you're able to walk. Simple things is what you have to be thankful for, because a lot of people don't have that. Another thing, and this is my 14th lesson, is learn to love being with yourself. This is not about, being a loner or being alone and everything. Be with your friends, be with the people that you want to be with, hang out and things. But learn also the time that you have with yourself, whether it's something that you do, maybe spending time on a hobby again, or reading a book, or doing whatever. Learn to be by yourself alone. Because even if I practiced this, actually I did this. I went to the movies in 2025. Never ever would I go to a movie by myself. I would always have somebody. The day that I wanted to go to the movie, nobody wanted to come. Everybody was busy. And you know what? This was a movie that I really wanted to watch. I wanted to go on the first day, first show, and nobody was available. So guess what? I told myself, I'm like, you want to do this? Do that. And I did. So I enjoyed my own company, and I actually had a lot of fun, actually. So it was actually fun. That's when I learned that I'm actually having a lot of fun time with myself. 15th lesson is have no expectations. I cannot emphasize this any more than I can. I used to have, it's like just human nature, I think, or maybe the people that are around me. If you do, if you do a favor for somebody, you kind of have that expectation that, oh, they're gonna, return that or anything like that. What I started learning is that when I had more expectations from people for certain things and they didn't deliver it, I was more upset. And it was making me think about a lot of things. And it's like, why did they not do that? I did so much for them and stuff. Do only what you can do, and don't do more than you can't do, if that makes any sense. So if I wanted to, let's say, give baked cookies to one of my friends, okay? Now, I'm not going to have any expectations for them to return the favor or whatever, or return that with a baked biscuit. Have zero expectations. You live much more happier when you have no expectations. 16th one is been a lifesaver for me. It is journaling. Like I mentioned before, I journal everything. And journaling has been such a good outlet for me, because I have these kind of certain things that I can't talk about to, a lot of people. Something that I, don't think that I'm going to get a nice feedback for or anything like that. But journaling has been my best friend. I'm literally talking to myself, and I'm writing everything that's going on, whether it's good, negative. And while I'm writing these things, I a lot of time found myself finding solutions for myself. So I was kind of acting like my own therapist. Anything that bothered me, anything that I was happy about, more like when I was bothered, I would talk to myself, I would put it in writing. And while I'm writing that, I found so many solutions for those situations. And I actually took my own advice by journaling, and I actually acted on that, and it was so, so helpful. Next one is you are what you consume. Now, I don't mean about food or anything like that, okay? That's not what I mean. What I mean is you are what you consume. So now if you are on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and you see all these like, you know, feeds and, you know, the reels and things like that, the more you watch it, the algorithm of those platforms pick up on that. So if you watch something like motivational, that's what I did. I watched a lot of motivational things. I watched a lot of self-care, self-love and things. As I was watching those things, I became more and more that person. Now, if I was watching something negative, like, you know, somebody talking bad about somebody, making fun of somebody and whatever, I'm consuming that, which is gonna kind of, maybe not kind of, actually make me into that person where I'm gonna find myself, you know, making fun of somebody or something. So you are what you consume is basically also relatable to the things that you see. Next one is, which, oh, I wish I did this early. So next one is take more pictures for memories. I know I keep bringing back like what it was like 5 years ago and stuff like that. I don't want to really get into it too much, but for 5 years I did not take that many pictures at all. I barely took pictures. And I was actually, it was earlier 2025 when I was looking on my camera roll, and I was just trying to find pictures. I was just like, I don't have any pictures, you know. The few that I have is from like people who took pictures of me and things like that. So I made it so important this year that any moment, whether it's just a picture of like a flower, but I made the initiative to actually take more pictures. And now when I'm looking, like when I was looking back on my pictures, and I was like, wow, I have so many great pictures. And each picture, I remember the moment before we took the picture, the moment when we did take the picture, and the moment after. And it just became such a good story. And I was showing my sister and, you know, my coworkers and everything about like how this picture, and I had a lot of them, I had funny stories, and it was just something so great. And I was like, I don't know why I stopped taking pictures. The next one is forgiveness. And this is about forgiving yourself and forgiving others. For me, it was so important that I was thinking a lot about how it was back then and what happened and things like that. And I was just like, you know what? You're never gonna move on if you haven't forgiven yourself. Along that, there were a lot of people that, you know, who had really hurt me and things like that. And it was kind of holding me back, having a grudge and things. And I just decided that I'm just gonna forget about it. I'm just gonna forgive them. Because if I don't forgive people or myself, I can never move on to my next chapter. It's something that's gonna always hold me back, because in the back of my mind, I'm gonna have that grudge, or I'm gonna keep thinking about it, and it's gonna bring me in a sad mode, you know. So that was number one thing: forgive myself and forgive others. At the same time, I can also say, let it go. There are a lot of things that, you know, you hold on to, or, you know, somebody has done something, you hold on to that idea, which prevents you from moving on. And I just decided everything that happened, I am just gonna let it go. That's in the past. I'm letting it go, not bringing that up again. And that's exactly what I did. And that's why I think that I found myself in such a happier place once I did do all that. The 20th lesson that I learned, which I was so surprised by the reaction: do not be afraid of changing for the better. There's so many people around you who, you know, like you or are friends with you for a certain reason. They hang out with you for a certain reason. Something like you're a party girl. Oh yeah, all those party people are gonna be like, oh, you know what? I wanna go party, let's call her. Do that. And it was a funny story with me because there was somebody that I knew, and I was, I was drinking and I was partying and I was just like, just having fun. And then when I decided this year, or 2025, when I decided that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be partying. I don't want to be drinking. I don't want to do that. And I cut down completely. I cut off alcohol completely. And the person called me and they were like, oh, do you want to do this and stuff? And I was just basically telling that person that, no, I'm not really into that anymore. I'm trying to really make a change, and things like that. And I just had like a very happy kind of feeling. That person tells me that, wow, you sound really happy. Like, did you change? Did you really change? And I'm like, yeah, like, why wouldn't I change? I'm not in that phase anymore. Never once heard back from that person. It was so insane that to realize that when I made changes, when I don't want to be that old person and I want to change because I have other things that I'm looking forward to, or just getting myself into a place a season that I'm actually interested in. Those people, or that particular person, just decided to cut all contacts with me. It was so crazy. So that just made me realize that, oh, you like the party girl. Oh, you like when I drink alcohol. Oh, you can't be hanging out with somebody who doesn't drink alcohol. Let me tell you one thing. You give me 2 cups of coffee and we're about to go to a bar, I'll be more hyper than you. You drinking, I'll be more hyper than that. I just need 2 cups of coffee. I love coffee. Next one is face your fears. Again, I don't know. When I was a kid, I never had a fear of heights. And I don't know what happened. Don't really know, but I think it was like 3-4 years ago when I developed this fear of heights. And I was thinking a lot of time when I was like, I had my mom and dad and everybody tell me that you were the kind of person that would go on the highest roller coaster and you wouldn't be scared, you would enjoy that and things like that. And I came to a point where I was scared to even go on a ladder because when I looked down, that would make me feel a certain way. So I wanted to break that fear. So what I did actually, I actually did it in November. So it was kind of late, but I conquered that. That was my goal and I conquered it. I went to a indoor amusement park. I live in Jersey, so we have an indoor amusement park. And I went on the roller coaster that was supposed to be the fastest. It was one of the biggest indoor roller coasters in New Jersey. So I went there. I didn't have anybody with me. I decided to go by myself and I went on it. And I was holding on to my dear life, but I was like, I need to face that. I cannot be scared like this. I went on the ride and actually I had a fantastic time. I was like, oh my God, this was so much fun. And it just brought so much like happiness and such a smile on my face that I am so proud of myself to conquering that fear. I went on that ride again and I was not at all scared. So it was so amazing. The 23rd lesson, and I think I should have learned this a while back, but it's okay. At least I learned it. Do not be afraid of judgment and do not let judgment affect you. There is so many people, like there is a saying and it's like something like, people will say something, that's their job. That's basically a saying. People always have something to say about you and that's what they're gonna do. You can never change them. There are gonna be so many people that are gonna judge you for something, or something that you do, something that you don't do, you look like, and things like that. Be happy with who you are and don't let that affect you, because when the moment you let that judgment be part of your life, you're not going to be able to accomplish anything. You're not going to be able to do anything. That's one of the biggest lessons that I learned. I stopped caring what people said. I just don't care at this point. I'm not living for them. I'm living for myself. And that lesson that I learned was one of the most, and I wish, but I'm not going to say that, was that I learned to not simply care about what people have to say. I am myself. I am my unique self. So are you. You're unique in your own way. There is no reason, no one should be judging you. Nobody's perfect, and that is something that we all have to learn. Let the person be the way they are. Along with that thing, don't have any regrets. In other words, don't think that, oh, I should have done that, or I should have changed this and that. That's done. That time has gone. You cannot go back in time to change something that happened, whether it's good, whether it's bad. Mainly we only say that when something bad happened, or it didn't go the way you wanted. Forget about it. You already know this happened. Time has gone. You can never travel back in time to try to fix that. What you have to do is now, since you know that happened, it's not an outcome that you were looking for, in the present time, fix that issue. How can you make that thing better? How can you move forward and take actionable steps and prevent from that thing happening again? So never ever look back and say, oh, I should have done that. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Never say that. Last one that I had is basically just be positive. A lot of times our natural mind is just going to go on something negative. Something bad happened. Like something like, oh, I was making my coffee spilled. Now my whole day is going to be going so bad. Oh, I'm going to work. Oh, there's so much traffic. I'm going to be late by 5 minutes. Just stay positive. You're going through a little hurdle. That's fine. Those things happen. That's what life is. But everything that you go through, just be positive about it. Just think of the positive outcomes that are going to come. You always internally have to think, optimistically. And I know it's so hard because I was like that. It's all about the mindset that you have. You have to switch your mindset to being more positive. Well, there you have it. What an incredible year. What incredible lessons that I learned. I hope you guys get some motivation to implement some of these lessons into your life in 2026. I know I'm definitely implementing these again in 2026 because they worked so well in 2025 that I'm definitely going to keep working on these things. If you like this video, please like this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And if you think somebody needs some motivation and you think that this video will help them, share the video with them. Also, let me know in the comments below if there are any lessons that you learned in 2025 that maybe I could get some motivation for to implement in my life. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, dear me's.